in a world of many options, it's great to have somebody that has a name you can trust. Fast, reliable, and honest. No problems. Heating and cooling. We don't need problems. We want no problem heating and cooling. We're going to talk about some of the real reasons you should have this work done professionally. After a great conversation here in between shows, they really know their stuff because, gosh, there can be so many things that go wrong when you're installing something like this. Nobody wants to waste their money. Stay tuned, everybody. It's the Your Little Castle Show. Welcome, everyone, to Your Little Castle Show. Yours truly, Carter Rethwish, a.k.a. Cardinal Cowboy. Both of our guests here, they said they've seen me running around down at Busch Stadium. They know what this is about. But yeah, after surviving a fatal accident, rest Jimmy Barnes' soul. But God wasn't done with me, so I've got work to do. And my mom, who's a teacher, loves what we're doing here because we're really helping small businesses keep up with the guys who have multi-million-dollar, and I've worked for those guys. That's where I learned a lot of my stuff, multi-million-dollar budgets. But we want to give a voice to the small businesses in our communities, and people have come in from around the world to be on the show, and flown up here and done remote interviews. A lot of people fly to St. Louis, and so
ain't nothing wrong with that.
It's a lot of fun here, and you'll enjoy. Maybe we'll go to a Cardinal game. But with that, I have one of my favorite questions that I get to talk about here is, and because everybody's worried about making a mistake, no matter what, whether it's buying a car, buying a house, buying a lawnmower, anything they're going to purchase, especially when you get into the prices, you're spending $300, $500, $1,000, $5,000, $10,000. What's the biggest mistake that people make when they're making a decision to buy a new home HVAC unit?
The biggest mistake I think people make is choosing the cheapest option. They'll get a bid from us, and somebody will come in, undercut us by $2,000-$3,000, and they install it. And installation is the most important thing you can do for longevity of a system. And then they'll call us back couple weeks, a month later, saying, "Can you come fix this new unit I just had installed?"
not the yeah. Well, and that's what are some of the corners that are cut when people are doing installations?
So not vacuuming down a system, having imperfections in the line, bending the copper. They go on and on. There's so much involved with installation, and sizing is huge. If you get an oversized unit, short cycling is a problem. Undersizing, it's going to run forever. You're going to see high electric bills. So sizing the equipment is crucial.
Yeah, boy, I didn't realize. Yeah, you've got the lines that run. What are they running through the copper lines? Is that the Freon?
That's refrigerant, yeah.
Yeah, refrigerant. And so you crimp one of those a little bit. That can be done along a line that's 30, 40 feet long, I guess.
Yep.
And now you've got a bigger problem. That's hard to track down. But A-coils, I know there's a lot that goes into these things. I don't know why anybody would ever want to cut corners. And so just get it done right. That's the common sense thing to do. With regard to that, the work you do a lot of residential, commercial as well.
Yep.
How much of each would you say you do, and what do you like about each?
We do about, I would say, 90% residential, 10% commercial. Residential, I really enjoy talking to the people and the customers and getting them taken care of. On the commercial side, I like going on roofs, and I like being up there by myself and trying to figure out a unit that's 15 tons and all those controls in there, and it really puts your mind to work, and I love it. I love commercial stuff.
Yeah, something that challenges us all is something we appreciate, especially when you get the results and get it fixed. As a Microsoft guy back in the day, I was fixing things and telling Microsoft problems they didn't know they had. But digging in, and I was isolated in my little area up in the server room, and it makes you feel good to figure something out to make something work that somebody else couldn't get done. Boy, the blue screen of death, I'll never forget that, right? How many people have seen that? But yeah, and the commercial side of it makes a lot of fun too. What do you like most about the St. Louis area? You guys are recently new office. You guys are expanding, growing a little bit.
Yep.
And you service
growing.
You're based out of here in St. Peter, St. Charles area, but you'll service the whole metro area. You're going to everybody's home typically anyway. So
correct. Yeah, we all the way out from past Wentzville to St. Louis and down Arnold and up to Troy and all that area.
So a lot of people are familiar. There's a local Los Angeles, L.A. It's not Los Angeles. It's Lower Arnold, everybody. But I grew up in Fenton, so.
Oh, okay. So down 44.
West. I was in West L.A. A little bit out down Highway 141. Now 141 comes all the way up here. But so that's a long distance for you guys to go. But you're within, I guess, 30, 40 minutes of drive from everywhere.
Yep.
And did you work on the other side of the bridge, or where all are you
Yeah, we've done some work on the other side of the bridge for people. But not that much. We stay in our local area
Yeah,
in
okay.
St. Louis.
But within a good area. But then up to North County, Florissant.
Yep.
A lot of St. Charles, I would imagine.
Absolutely.
St. Peter's, St. Charles. I thought St. Peter's, we played a team called the Padres. I thought we were like San Diego had taken over.
Yeah.
But it's St. Peter's Padres.
Right.
And but St. Peter's, St. Charles, all part of St. Charles County. That's a great place to be based. And tons of.
And all the way down to Washington too.
Okay.
Yeah, we've been down there too.
Washington, Missouri.
Yep.
Okay. And I think, and it's proper actually, they say Missouri in
Yeah,
some
that's
parts.
correct.
I lived in Fenton. A lot of my friends, we said Missouri.
Yep.
I don't know where the A came from if you look at the way it's spelled, but that's all right. Either one is proper. But yeah, Washington. And my buddy, we would make jokes, and we said Washington. But whatever it is, man,
Washington,
we
yeah.
loved everybody out there. That's on the way to our cabin, by the way, so we would do that. We got to go through Washington. Tell me a time, though, as somebody who's been doing this for a long time, I can imagine there's got to be a number of instances with 12 years experience. And how long have you been at the helm here for?
It's been about 3 years now. I've been at the helm doing stuff.
And then along the way, you've seen this too. But give me an example of a time where you had a client that was in a tough situation. Maybe they had a contractor that didn't get the job done, not naming names, but some of the other contractors. But you had to come in and really help somebody, and you came through for them.
It was on Christmas. It was on Christmas. No, it was on Christmas Eve. Their heat went down, and if the heat goes down, there's a chance of pipes,
Yes,
exploding
I've
and
had that.
freezing up. Yep.
Yes.
Yep. So I went out there and helped them on Christmas Eve. And got their heat up and running, and it was late. It was like 9 or 10:30 at night, and they got to wake up in heat and enjoy their Christmas, and that was one memorable moment.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, we have enough problems in here. I had a pipe blow in my house, not because the heat went out, but just because it was so cold. And gosh, you can imagine if somebody doesn't have heat, they're a lot more vulnerable to that and you get a pipe blow, man, you've got some big problems. Now you got water spraying everywhere. You got to build up mold. These are problems you don't want people to have.
Huge problems when pipes explode. So heating, I know people are uncomfortable in the summer and they want the cool air, but heating in the winter is also crucial because your pipes will explode. You'll have mold, water damage. You could damage your furnace that's down in the basement. There's a lot of problems that happen with heat related stuff.
Yeah, I know most people complain a lot more, it seems, about when it's hot.
Yep.
And cold isn't fun either, but it's just like, okay, I can throw in a couple more covers. It's a little cool. But you're talking about, you can have much bigger issues because of the lack of heat.
Correct.
What do you have more complaints about? Do people realize the impact there, the difference? Do you get equal share?
Yeah, I mean, I would say people complain more in the summer about the heat.
Yeah.
But there's more ways to heat up than there is to cool down. So that's why they complain in the summer, and then in the winter they don't really take as much worry about their furnaces because they can just put more layers on.
Right, put more layers on until it gets cold enough where you're freezing pipes. That's not good. Have you had a situation where somebody had frozen pipes, or you got in there just before that?
We've gotten there just before. I've seen frozen pipes, and I've seen the aftermath of pipes exploding in the basement.
The aftermath. What does that look like? That's not fun.
No,
water sprayed everywhere.
Water everywhere, flooding. It gets into the unit, and the blower's going to suck up the water, and it's going to shoot it into the ductwork. I mean, the washer's down there, the main's down there, so.
Yeah, then you can end up with a lot of rust and a lot of things, and that's not fun either.
Yep.
Yeah, we had that happen outside at the other place. We had my dad had gone to heaven at that point, so Mom and I didn't pay as close attention, and somebody calls us negative 41 degrees last night. This is 5 years ago, I think you might have remembered. And they said, you got a pile of ice in your front yard because the pipes blew and sprayed water everywhere.
Yep.
Thank God we had good insurance because we ended up getting this place remodeled because of that, but it was a big mess, and you don't want pipes blowing because you didn't pay attention to the heat. If we'd have gone in there and turned the heat up or something, then we could have had solved this problem. But what had happened, somebody turned off the heat because it was rented to college students, and they went home for Christmas. And
that's another huge issue is people that turn off their thermostat and they leave for work and it's 91 degrees outside and they turn off their thermostat and they come back and they turn it back on and expect it to cool down the house in an hour. But you can't let that much humidity get in your house. Same with the heat. You can't let it get that cold.
Okay, yeah, these things aren't automatic switches to heat or cool. You've got to pay attention to these, or else you may have a much bigger problem. And don't expect that. So, how often? Another good question. I think a lot of people might be interested in. We have a lot of automated systems now. You've got these Nest, a number of different options out there. I got one from, I forget the name of the company, but it's got a little app now that I can control everything.
Yep.
Have those made things easier, better, worse? More people now dependent on the technology?
I think I like them. Train actually has the ability to, when we install a system, that we can have it tied to our system, so we can actually monitor their HVA system from the office. We can't control any controls, but we can actually see what the unit's doing, its run times, see how it's operating, so we'll know a problem before you do, and we can make it happen for you, take care of you.
Wow, yeah, that's preemptive information, and make sure that you see a problem coming. Why are you at my door? Well, because your AC is about to go off.
Yep.
And you're going to have a problem much bigger than you want to deal with here on a 100-degree day here in St. Louis, or 108 with the heat index, they say. Those are important things to make sure. That's really proactive. That's pretty cool. I didn't realize that. I get a report from the little output, but I don't know if it's that proactive. That's pretty neat. What's the biggest challenge you've had to overcome, especially in your position now? You're running a whole show. You've got a lot of people you're responsible for. What are some of the challenges you've overcome to make it made you stronger?
When you have employees like that, you worry about them. You worry about their livelihood and making sure they have work and everybody's taken care of and they get the right training, and that being able to give the guys the work and make them successful, not only in their professional career but in their just personal life. Overcoming that obstacle of not having the ability to get them something that they need. And we take care of our guys, and we take care of our office people, and we make sure that everybody has exactly what they need to succeed. That's
pretty cool. You see an employer who's really concerned sincerely about their employees. But the team you've got is obviously what makes the world go round. I'm so thankful for the team I've got too. But there's nobody that gets through this thing on their own. To build that team and maintain that team is.
It's all about teamwork. Yep, it's all about teamwork, and we all work together for one common goal. And we genuinely actually care about each other. We're not just you're not a number to us. You're not a van number. You're a person, and we understand you have a life, and we want to make sure that you succeed in it.
Yeah, they say, I've heard the studies that talk about it. The customers are very important. So write this one down. I think this is what Ryan's talking about. But the customers are very important, but your employees are equally important. And if you don't have a good team, you're not going to make too many customers happy. And so you want to make sure to maintain that. And
yep, you want to be able to rely on them, and they rely on you, and with that, it all culminates on helping out the customer at the end.
And at the end, you see those results and 1,188 reviews, and almost all 5 stars. These are the kinds of things, the kind of leaders we're looking for in our community, because it's just hard to find. You want to make sure you're finding, especially when you're talking about what's the average installation these days of a new HVA system.
I would say between 10 and 15.
Yeah, so if you're $10,000 to $15,000, you don't want to make a mistake.
You do not.
Cutting corners.
Right, you want to get that thing done right, and you want to have a company that's going to be around for the long term to have your back every time you call them.
Very important. Write that one down too, everybody. Great information. All right, more fun in our community. We'll be back here in just a minute. Stay tuned. You're watching the Your Little Castle Show. Giddy up. We'll check him out. There he is, Rogers Hornsby, George Sissel, Cool Papa Bell, Bob Gibson, Lou Brock, Stan the Man Usual. There's another one for him. Red Shane Deans, there he is. Ozzie Smith, right there. Enos Slaughter. Dizzy Dean. And the most recent, Ted Simmons. All right, everybody. Hope you guys enjoyed our little walk. You see about another 75 feet in front of us. There's a Stan Usual. And lots of great history there with Stan the Man. We're going to speed up here. You got quite a bit of activity here. Cardinals versus Braves. Cardinals won last night in about a 6-hour game with 2 hour 45 minute rain delay. Give you some idea. There he is. Hey, good to see you. Good to see you. Get in. And here it is, everybody. Outside gate 3 is Stan the Usual.
Stay in the same line as the person who had your ticket.
Stan the Man. There it is, everybody. All right. Guess who? Go Cardinals. Get up.
His name is Carter Rethwich, but in St. Louis, he's known as the Cardinal Cowboy. He's a well-known fixture in the stands at sporting events in the Gateway City. He's one of its greatest cheerleaders, a super fan like no other. When he makes his rounds at almost every home game, he shares his love for sports with the rest of fandom with a smile, a cheer, some positive encouragement, and lots of selfies and pics. But the Cardinal Cowboy was born of a tragic incident. Rethwish was an aspiring athlete in high school and college. He dreamed of playing in the big leagues, but those dreams ended when he and 3 of his college friends were hit with a devastating crash by a 5-time drunk driver. One of his best friends died. Carter suffered a critical head injury. The trauma put him in a coma for 6 days. The doctors said he was never expected to function again. Those expectations never came true. He fought back and finished college. He was determined to prove the doctors wrong. Among other inspirations, it was his love of baseball that kept him going. And from his near-death experience, the Cardinal Cowboy emerged. His goal in life became to inspire others with positivity despite the odds, to help people believe in themselves and achieve their dreams.
So after my coma, I realized that it was up to me if I was going to accomplish my goals, if I was going to reach my dreams. Despite what the naysayers would say, the people that were discouraging me, like they do everyone, it's up to me if I'm going to make it. Don't listen to the naysayers. It's up to you. You decide whether you're going to succeed, whether you're going to reach your goals. Dream, and then always, always chase your dreams. Never give up. Giddy up. By now, we are on ABC 5 times a week. So many businesses are loving what we're doing to help them get their name out there. We'll sit right here in our guest chair, right here, sitting here talking to us. We're going to put on the wall your website and everything about you, and highlight you as a leader. Fill out the form you see here on our website. It's bigleagues.com, and if you go to bigleagues.com, fill out this form. Takes just a couple seconds, and you can even schedule yourself right here. Schedule yourself to be on the show, and there's no charge for us to record you. There's no charge to be in the studio. Check it out if you would like to be on. Fill out the form again, bigleagues.com. This is where we can turn any interview into a series of clips. Professional video on your website closes more sales by instantly building trust, clearly explaining complex products, and keeping visitors engaged longer, reducing bounce rate by 34%. It'll help you to gain that credibility, increase engagement, simplify complex tasks, lower your sales friction, and boost your rankings on the search engine. So this is all kind of a no-brainer. See how we've now had over 500 interviews and now almost 250 different business owners. Go to bigleagues.com. That's bigleagues.com. Go to bigleagues.com and get signed up. You can schedule right from there. And we're back, everybody, but we love to talk about, you talk about media. That's what the show is all about, giving people the attention they deserve, because media has changed the way the world functions. So pick up our book here, Magnetized Media. Yours truly wrote the foreword here. This is the #1 seller on Amazon. Willie J has been on the show. Steve's been on the show too. Willie's a top-performing artist. Was on the Cowboy and Judge show back in the day. But they had me write this. Cardi essentially wrote the first chapter because, boy, do we know anybody that's always out in front of there, got their smartphone, filming, doing lots of things to gain attention and bring a lot of highlights to. Well, we started off with mostly charities, and now we work with all kinds of businesses. And Mom said, keep working with the businesses because they're the ones who employ the people who can then donate to the charities if you really want to help the whole world go around. That's kind of what we do. But how has technology, websites, you guys, incredible amount of reviews, social media, all these things impact the business?
Nowadays, everything's based on websites, social media. You can't get far without having some kind of social media presence and website. People don't no longer use the Yellow Pages. They get on their phone and they Google your name or HVAC contractor near me, and they find a company that has good reviews. That's how it goes down.
There's the process right there, really straightforward. And it's just technology has just changed the way we function on this little planet. Thank goodness Mom and Dad made me go to computer classes.
Yeah.
I quit piano lessons in the trade for that. But hey, it all worked out. My sister can teach me piano lessons if I'll ever take time to do that. What are some of the biggest mistakes? You mentioned one that was interesting that the big guys, other big companies make, and when they're working with their clients, that you're not going to make that same mistake.
Yeah, I've seen some big companies that they treat the customer as a number, and they don't. I don't want to say they don't care, but they just want the sale. They want to get something in their house and move on, and they don't care about helping out the customer in the long run.
Yeah, well, that's a good way to end up with a bunch of bad reviews or a company that you see. How do these big companies fail? They've got so much money, they're so powerful. Well, they haven't taken the time to be specific and dig in and really help. And small businesses, that's what we talked about in the other question last show. What do small businesses really have a big advantage because they can really go in and care and take it because their livelihood depends on it. Big business upsets a few people, not a big deal. Small business, one person upsets somebody.
That's right.
Can impact the business to a large extent. So, what's the biggest question you get though from people when they're ready to make a decision? And we talked about that. We said, it's always the same thing. And what is it? And how do you help people understand?
So usually it's price. And then, we have to use our knowledge as HVAC professionals and our years of experience and our certifications to inform the customer, you're paying this price because you're going to get a quality system that's going to last and it's going to have a warranty and you're not going to have to worry about it for 10 years because we're going to take care of it.
Yeah, a lot of people don't understand. The reason you pay more, I've had people say, Carl, well, we can give you a discount. We'll give you a deal. I'm like, I don't want the discount or deal because that means on the other end there's somebody cutting corners or somebody's not going to feel as though they need to put in as much work because they didn't get paid as much for it.
Yep.
And so I just tell people, just give me the fair price that we agree to because you don't want to cut corners. You don't want to skimp. And especially when you're talking about, you talk about not getting the Freon filled up all the way correctly or just cutting lines that aren't run professionally. And there's a million things that people could do wrong.
Yep. Electricity, there's a million corners you don't want to cut in HVAC, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, and all these units, are they all 240 or 220 or which?
It kind of depends. The furnace downstairs is 120, the outdoor is 220, 240, and then an air handler inside is 240.
Okay,
Yep.
so yeah, there's some high-powered voltage here that's going to go be something that can impact what you're doing there too. So get it installed properly. Make sure you're not cutting corners on any of this stuff because your brother-in-law, we've got an expert in the building here, gave me a new one over there. Nate is contributing. He's here to help us. He's become my assistant production coordinator. But there's Dan and there's Chuck in a truck. We've all heard that one. But then there's also Dan in a van, and you got to be careful. Dan shows up with a van that doesn't look like they necessarily are going to take all the time and energy to make sure to get this done right, or maybe they don't have the equipment or the tools. You guys have all of that. And
yep.
As fast as next day service. Too.
Yep. All the tools, all the equipment, everything we need to take care of you.
Important, and a great looking website represents well, and I'm going to touch on that a little bit here too. Let's go over. I'm going to show off the website a little bit, and we'll show off a little bit of your social media. But we talked about this a little bit. How you get started, you can click here. But if you're looking for lots of great information, they've kind of got a breakdown: air conditioning, heating, indoor air quality, ductless systems, heat pumps, thermostats, HVAC inspection, HVAC maintenance. Boy, we hit on a bunch of important topics there, but is maintenance one of the most important things a lot of people don't realize? Just changing the filter, among other things. What are some of the things that people don't do?
The most important is maintenance. Changing your filter regularly, getting your outdoor unit cleaned. That is the number one cause of breakdowns is usually maintenance related. Yeah,
I've got this mini split, and it just seemed like it wasn't cooling as well. And I looked under the vents, and I cleaned them out, and they're real simple, and they're easy to clean, and they weren't hardly dirty. And then I went around, walked back my house to the outside unit. What do you call it?
Condenser.
Condenser, right? The condenser. And I looked at it, I'm like, it looked like there was a moth attack on the back of it. It was just covered.
Yep.
And it took me a few minutes. I did get a little cut on the, be careful. But I just started wiping it off with a paper towel that had gotten a little bit wet. And by the time I took before and after pictures, I'm like, would this make a difference? Of course. But the airflow, it's causing that pressure. That's causing a heavier strain on your unit, and that's not good.
Airflow. That's our motto around the shop, and it is the most important thing. You have to have everything clean, and that contributes to the longevity of your system. Is that maintenance?
Maintenance, everybody. We talk about it. But yeah, check out the website here. So much good information here, and you get into the specifics and these drop downs here. But here's the different thing, and that warranty is obviously quite a bit out there. maintenance team, specials, and then you guys offer financing. Tell me a little bit about the financing you guys offer.
Yep, we have two options for financing. We have 0% interest financing, and we have financing that we can get out 15 years at a low monthly payment. So we pretty much have a financing plan for anybody that needs it.
Yeah, that's important for a lot of people because if you can't afford to drop $15,000, which to get a good unit, you should pay the appropriate cost to make sure you're getting something quality. But financing it, especially now, the 0%, that'll be a shorter term, so they knock it out quicker, but there's no interest. And
Correct.
then the other option
Yep.
takes a little bit longer, but it goes as long as the unit, 15 years. That's
And then
pretty cool.
yeah, you're going to get a low monthly payment, and there's no prepayment penalties on either of our financing options. So we have a plan for anybody out there.
Well, that's important stuff there, everybody, because how many of us, if we didn't have the financing, and I've been in that situation where I'm like, well, I just can't afford to do this right now. And the guy says, go fill out the little form. And because the business has been doing well and my credit was in good position, bam, real quick response. And how much money do you want? I took out $1 million. No, I didn't do that. But these days, to get a nice unit, and it was great. It's great to have financing available.
Yeah, we can, they can go on our website and they can fill out the financing right there and get approved. And the next day we'll be out there installing a unit. And by 3:30, 4 o'clock, they're cool.
There you go. Yeah, if we've heard of these companies that you guys are partnered with, makes it easy. Once you get that, and they'll give you a response within a few minutes, won't they?
Yep, a few minutes we'll know,
Okay.
and we're ready to go.
And I like how the fact that you can get that done so quickly and be out there.
Yep.
Next day with a new unit, not just next day to look at it, but you're saying the next day with potentially
Correct.
a new unit,
Yep.
and have it a nice, cool or warm house, depending on what you're trying to accomplish in your little world, your little castle on this little planet. Ultimately, when it boils down to it, what gives you the most satisfaction for what you get to do?
I think it's got to be the customer service, and taking care of people, especially people that are in need and have health problems and stuff like that need heating and air conditioning. It's super important, or even server rooms, as you know, have to stay cool.
Yeah.
So mini splits are big in those things. So that it's important what we do.
Yeah, well, that's why our studio, we decided to put a mini split in here because literally we'd have 3 portable air conditioners, and we had to turn them on during the breaks and turn them off and have them running up right to the mini split. I've got it on full blast right now, and I think you might be able to barely hear it. And turn it down a notch or two, and it doesn't hardly make a sound. So good way to keep yourself in good order and give people that satisfaction so you could be happy too. It's got to be a win-win-win for everybody. In this little planet. Pick up that book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. I think they talk about that. Steve Covey. How do you guys contribute to the community? I like a number of different organizations you mentioned to me, but talk to me a little bit about that. We got about a minute left here.
Yep.
We got about 30 seconds left, sorry.
Okay, so yeah, we have STL Hero Network. We're big with them. We also do Hammerheads, which is a part of Calvary Church. We go out and we do a lot of free work for people that are in need, and they ask the church for help, and we go out there and we take care of them.
There you have it. There's so many good organizations, but we've had Charlie Metzner from the St. Louis Hero Network here on the show, another group to help sponsor and promote them. Lots of great people in our community, everybody. And give a shout out here to Ryan for taking the time to sit down here with me for about an hour and a half, almost 2 hours. Stay tuned, everybody. You're watching the Your Little Castle Show. Giddy up.